Well, it would appear that the relationship between the Victoria and federal governments is becoming increasingly strained. As Victoria continues to grapple with its second COVID wave, questions are now being asked about its response to aged care facilities and how they've handled the crisis. The state has only just suspended elective surgeries after intervention from the Prime Minister, and Premier Daniel Andrews insists his government wasn't dragging its feet about the decision. Angela, as you mentioned, you are in Melbourne. It's a bit of a tit for tat kind of idea. The Vics thought it was up to the feds to intervene. Why can't governments just get on with it, do you think?
I know. Why can't they just all just be, kumbaya about things like this? And that's absolutely, Robert, what the greatest argument here should be. It's, how federal and state governments cooperate rather than sticking to these contradictory approaches to issues, which will inevitably result in each side throwing each other under the bus when those problems arise. And in this particular situation, I think the buck thing is really bordering on the obscene, because the fault lies absolutely with both of them. And honestly, what did they think would happen? The aged care sector, at the best of times, is, a complete gibbering wreck. So what did they think? That's why we're having a royal commission.
Yeah.
And today it was really interesting to see the Prime Minister come out and say, we support Victoria. There's a lot of articles around today about this divide. And we actually saw some stories out yesterday where they were saying, well, you can't blame the federal government about the elective surgery. The federal government was telling Dan Andrews for days and days elective surgery had to stop. There really seems in some ways to be throwing the Victorians under the bus. And that's why I think the PM came out so strongly today, trying to show support for the Andrews government, because the worst thing that voters want to see right now, isn't it, that this is becoming politicised.
Absolutely. It's, sort of, while this is all happening and we're all in such a state of crisis that you're right. The absolute last thing that anybody wants to see is this sort of, vulgarity of, premiers and our head of state just like going at each other. But, we saw what happened in Victoria in enforcing the quarantine rules and the contact tracing and even testing. And Dan Andrews here even admitting that he wouldn't put his own mother in one of these institutions. Doesn't that just say it all? It's like, well, obviously you knew. So it's hard to see either side as really covering themselves in glory here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's almost as if we've had to have this to kind of shine a light on how bad things are in aged care. Ben, I'm going to go to you. Do you think it's ever possible for politicians from either side of the aisle, to use an American term, to ever get along? Isn't this the time that they should?
Well, I think this is just Australian politics. And funny that you mention this, because my partner said to me this morning, once the blame game started happening, he was like, you're in the wrong field. You should be a politician. You love pushing the blame onto other people. So look.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo